pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Please join me again as I pray. And as always, Lord, we're thankful for the blessings of this day. And even though it was so foggy this morning, but the fog reminded me that really we don't have as great a vision as we thought we had to look into the future. And there's a lot of uncertainty ahead. And we've been through so much in this county and state and country. We've been through hurricanes, and we're going through pandemics, and then we've had this terrible storm of last week, and we cry out to you and we say, Lord, why? Why are you asking us to go through what we've experienced? And your word tells us in Psalms 127:1 that unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain to build. Unless the Lord guards the gate, the watchman waketh but in vain. And Lord, we want to have your presence. We want you to build our house. We want you to guard our gate. And that's where there's peace and security. It only comes from you. So we just pray this morning as these commissioners look into the future and plan for this county, even though it may be foggy, even though we may have storms, even though we may have pandemics and ice, Lord, if you build a house, if they will listen to your voice and follow your direction, then we will be safe and secure. We trust you today to be a part of this meeting and to guide these men and women as they make decisions for the citizens. For it's in your name we pray.
Amen.
We do have a forum, and I have an announcement. I'm striking item number 11. I put it on there without making sure it's ready. All right, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Cheney, precinct 1.
Here.
Commissioner Castleline, precinct 2.
Here.
Commissioner Russo, precinct 3.
Here.
Commissioner Laubach, precinct 4.
Here.
Judge Mills.
Here. And you have everyone here. Citizens to be heard. Anyone stand up?
I didn't get anybody.
All right. We do have a presentation, first one from Pearl Point on their annual report of Ramsey County. First, I'd like to say quite a project, a nice asset to the county.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. We sent over our annual report. If y'all had time to look at it concerning our certification that we're in compliance with our 380 agreement. And, we completed the first phase 60 days late due to pandemic and supplies and situations that happened. But we do have our certificate of occupancy on all the buildings right now. We're still completing some garages. Garage doors are a real pain, if you can imagine. So we have in the agreement, there's a couple typos. I don't know if it's something we need to talk about. I mean, we had 218 units and we built 216, but we have 2 more that'll be completed in phase 2 within, which we plan to start here in the next, we're already under architectural and engineering. So we're going to hopefully close the loan probably in the next 30 days. So we still have our retail, our self-storage is going forward. We've already got permits on everything for that. And we're getting ready to start that. And we already have a couple of tenants talking to us about that. Part of our report was that we needed to spend local, and out of the $26 million that we spent on the project, we probably ended up spending about 15 million of that with local suppliers. Local, Builders First Choice was our main supplier for all of our lumber and windows and doors, et cetera. And they did an outstanding job considering we had lumber skyrocketing all over the place. They stayed the course, and we came in budget. It would have been real pain if it had been an out of town, I think, an out of town person. The window factory shut down for 2 months. That delayed us a bit, but we got it, right? So we did advertise for local people, for contractors. We did use probably a third of the people were actually contractors that were local, our trim crew, the painters, some of the framers. I mean, this is a pretty big job, and we had to go and find, the best bid, and we had to have the right people that could perform the project. That was another thing. We went through the pandemic again, and we'd have one person go down, and the whole crew would be down for 2 weeks. So actually, I think we did pretty good. So, any questions?
I have a question,
Sure.
and it is a very impressive project, and thank you for all of the detail that you provided and that you did so much local. You mentioned that all 5 staff members working directly for RHH are residents of Aransas County. Would you say what those positions are that they hold?
Ryan Aries is the construction manager for all vertical construction. His nephew, that's his nephew, right?
Guy's nephew.
His nephew is one of our on-site patrol people that watch out for everything. Ivan Torres is a local guy, and he has somewhat the same position. Russell Cole is a project manager. Everybody knows Russell from Fulton. And then Danny, what's her name? Graham. Danny Graham has been a resident here for about 2 years, and she's our financial bookkeeping person on site.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have one. People often ask me about this project. There's somehow got the idea that it had a lot of Section 8 housing in it, which I think is not
It has
right.
no
right?
Section 8 housing. It is
There's
all
some low to
pure-
moderate income.
It's a market rate project, and we've tried to do that. We worked for a while trying to see if we could get some kind of subsidizing after the hurricane, but you either floor it or you wait, and so we just pushed forward on it.
I always told them I thought that was wrong. I just wanted to double check.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
Mark, can you tell us about your rent range?
Rent range, Russell, do you want to?
Right now, we have even though we have a CO on all the buildings, we have 142 units leased right now. We have 3 buildings. We still need to do some landscaping. We're behind a couple weeks on that because of what we've been through and some of the rain. When we get our grass, it's rain. They can't cut it. That's put us a couple weeks behind on planting, getting our grass planted. But out of the 142 units, we have 68 occupied units. We have 11 pre-leased. And then we have a wait list of approximately 10 people that want to move in to one of the 3 units that we have not leased.
Russell, you were saying there was kind of a phenomena about you have a large number of people that want 3-bedroom units, which
It
is not a
is. We
normal
started
thing.
we have 6 3-bedroom units. And believe it or not, those were one of the first ones that people wanted to rent, which when the project started, we just kind of pulled numbers out of what we thought we needed. Now in phase 2, we're talking about adding quite a few more 3-bedrooms because there is definitely demand for them.
I mean, the unit mix when you're trying to do a project like this is always the wild card, right? So when I did Bentwater, I had 8 units over there, and I either had 2 leased or they were all leased. And so this one I was a little more cautious on it, and who would know? And those units leased for $1,800 a month. 2 bedrooms are $1,500, right? And $1,200 for 1 bedroom.
And to give you all an idea of who's leasing, we get the range. We have people that work in Corpus that have gave up their leases over there to move over here and drive back and forth every day. We have several of those. Retirees, people selling their houses, that's tired of mowing the grass and paying taxes are moving in. Bartenders, it's all across the board.
Policemen.
Leasing.
School
that's why-
superintendent, I think he told us,
Pardon me?
the school superintendent last week told us he lives here.
School superintendent, we got people that work at the Port of Corpus Christi. It's just, and that's really what surprised me is the people that are giving up Corpus and Portland to move over here and then having to drive every day. But, you know, we have several of those.
And part of my thinking for the next 4 to 5 years here is we need to introduce new people into the area that have discretionary income. Those people can support the restaurants, they can support the marina, they can support the filling station, they can support all of our retail, which after the hurricane, we took a pretty bad beating on that. I had GNC move out, I had Little Caesars move out, I had all kinds of different people move out of one of my shopping centers, and leased up is a little tough, right? I mean, not many people can get financing for restaurants and stuff right now. So the more rooftops that we can get here with the more people that have discretionary income, I think it's going to help our whole community.
Any other questions, sir? Thank you, and thank you again. This project is quite an asset to the county.
Thank you.
Okay, presentation from Grant Works.
Hi, this is Carlos.
Oh,
This is Carlos with GrantWorks. I'm the planner who worked on the Colonia plan for the Oakdale Hills Village Colonia. And I'd like to just do a quick summary of the plan and our conclusions from the plan. The Aransas County Oakdale Hills Village Colonia project is project number 719005 of the CDBG program from the Texas Department of Agriculture. We applied initially for CDBG funding. It was awarded. We were hired. We did field work and a housing survey for the plan. And we've completed the plan. We delivered it to the county for review. And today, basically, I'm giving you a presentation on this plan. And then the next step would be that you guys adopt the resolution later in the meeting so that we're able to then deliver the final plan to TDA for their review, after which they'll disperse the money and then we can finally close out the contract. So moving forward, as far as defining what a colonia is, this is any identifiable unincorporated community within 150 miles of the border of Mexico, and it needs to have at least a lack of potable water supply or a lack of adequate sewage systems or a lack of decent, safe, and sanitary housing. This particular colonia qualified under the lack of sewer. It was already served water, and most of the housing, as we'll find here in the next slide, is pretty decent condition. So moving forward, as far as housing goes, we found 103 units in the colonia. 85% were in standard condition, 14% were deteriorating, and only 1% were found to be dilapidated. So our estimated housing costs for bringing all of the housing units up to standard level would be about $885,000. This includes some the demolition of the dilapidated units, and I think 25% of deteriorating units are also were calculated to be demolished as well, and then standard repairs for the rest. As far as colonia housing standards, we also collected information to see which of the units met the colonia housing standards. There's 11 criteria that the federal government used to define colonia housing standards. The first being site and neighborhood. This is takes in issues such as the floodplain. Access takes in issues such as access from public roadways, structure and materials. Look at things such as whether the structures are free from serious defects such as leaning and buckling or tripping hazards. Lead-based paint are structures that were the presence of lead-based lead-based paint was determined. Where possible, structures obviously that were built prior to 1978 were suspected to have lead-based paint. And we determined this mostly in our door-to-door survey when we completed that. Water supply, and it goes on, but there are 11 standards, and the water supply is obviously whether it has functioning water supply or not. Interior air quality would be structures that are free from carbon monoxide and have screens on all the windows, for instance. Electrical would be whether they are hooked up to electricity. Thermal environment is related to whether the unit is energy efficient or not. Sanitary facilities were related to whether the units have a working sink, bathtub, or a shower. Security is related to locks on the doors, and food preparation is related to whether the units have an adequate kitchen or not, or have a functioning kitchen or not. So we found, and what we did was we tried to, we didn't use all 11 criteria and say that they had to meet all 11 criteria. We decided on that houses that met at least 7 of the 11 criteria we considered to adequately meet most of the housing standards, the majority of the housing standards. So, but based on that criteria, we found that only 6% did not meet the standard. And so 97 of the houses met the standard according to that criteria. There are 22 vacant. Most of the units in the Oakdale Village Colonia are RVs or manufactured housing. That accounts for 55 units, whereas stick frame housing, the standard kind of stick frame housing, site-built housing, accounted for 48 units. So that, indicates that some of the units, the manufactured and RV units, will probably deteriorate quicker than the stick frame housing. So the majority of units there are going to deteriorate quicker than if they were all stick frame. As far as the water system, the units are served water if they want to be served water from the city of Rockport. So we studied the city of Rockport system and determined that it is in full compliance with TCEQ regulations and standards for the standard types of criteria that they have, such as water capacity, total storage, elevated storage, service pump capacity, certified operators, operating pressure, and the minimum main size. The basic goals and objectives for the water system chapter were basically continuing to maintain the water system, good working order for the Colonia residents. For wastewater, we actually proposed a system there to hook them up to the city of Rockport sewer system. And we found that according to the engineering preliminary study that was conducted for this, that this would cost roughly $996,300, so close to $1 million to hook up everyone in the Colonia to water, or to wastewater, excuse me, I'm sorry. And this falls within a feasible range. It's considered feasible if the cost per connection is from $10,000 to $15,000. So this came in at $10,200. And so that we do consider that a feasible range for sewer connection. The problem, the next one is just the next slide on the handout is just a schematic of the sewer system as the engineers envision it. We did find that a slight problem perhaps with hooking up everyone there to sewer is that only 53% of the survey respondents, when we did the door-to-door survey, actually wanted to hook up to public sewer right now. And I know that you guys are having a problem with another Colonia grant as far as hooking people up to sewer, and people currently are not interested in that due to probably the pandemic and being out of work, and people don't have as much disposable income right now. Another problem there is beyond people wanting to hook up to sewer is that we didn't get a great response from the survey due to people not really wanting to come to the front door and to answer people's questions during the pandemic. But we did as much as we could and found that only 53% of the survey respondents wanted to actually hook up to sewer currently. This is likely to change as conditions change, as the pandemic gets better, and as people return to work and stuff like that. And so the plan also looked at storm drainage and streets. The storm drainage system was in fairly good working order. We did come up with a cost for replacing all damaged culverts and for maintaining the roadside ditches there in the Colonia. That came in at around $250,000. And the goals and objectives in that chapter are basically maintaining that system and continuing to ensure positive drainage in the Colonia. As far as then the street system, most of the streets when we went out were in good shape. There were only a few that were in fair shape. So we basically just costed out the amount that would be required to seal coat those roads, and found that they came in at just over $100,000. And of course, the goals and objectives would be to continue to maintain those roads for the Colonia residents. Those are the main chapters for the Colonia plan. It's basically an infrastructure plan. We looked at housing, water, sewer, drainage, and streets. And so that's basically the plan in a nutshell. There's a lot more information in the actual plan itself. And of course, a lot of mapping is involved as far as mapping all the different houses and things and different systems for the Colonia in the actual plan. But that's all I have for you guys today. And of course, later on in the meeting, there'll be a resolution, as I mentioned. So,
Carlos, did you get a handle on the LMI people that live in there and what would be the willingness of them to hook up, and maybe how many would it take to be able to have confidence in getting a grant in that area?
The LMI in the area it came in at over 51%. With only 53% of the people wanting to actually hook up to the sewer. I'm not sure right now that it would be a feasible project to apply for. I just get the feeling that right now may not be the best time to try to hook up to the sewer system, just because of the problems with monetary issues that people are having right now due to the pandemic and stuff. I could get a more detailed figure for you. I'd have to go back and look into the actual survey and try to determine which ones of the people were actually LMI that responded. I don't think I have an exact breakdown according to that, but it wasn't a requirement of the plan, but I understand where you're coming from as far as a future application to do a CD project there. But
does that mean, Carlos, that you're recommending that we go ahead and present it to the TDA and then we find out later whether we can get enough consents to move forward and spend the money, or do we wait and not send it in yet until we answer this question?
I think it's safe to send to TDA right now. It's a matter of not. Yeah, I mean the thing. What's happening on the ground is going to change considerably over time, and I think as things get better economically for the Colonia residents. So I would say that it's probably safe to send it in and have their review now. And determine at a later date whether it's going to be feasible to to apply for actual CD project to hook them up to sewer, in my opinion.
Carlos, is this the Donnie Drive area?
It is,
Okay.
yes. Sorry.
Is it taking into account that new area that they just cleared out? Do we know what's going to go in there, and would that affect this?
Storage building.
Is that storage building? Okay, good deal. All right. Okay, thank you.
I have a question or two. You say 53% of the respondents wanted to hook up. What was your sample size? How many households responded total?
The total amount of responding households was around 40 to 50 households. So, and there were 22 vacancies that we found in the Colonia. So it's about half of the Colonia residents that we were able to come to the door and to actually respond to our question. And it was
So about half of the residents responded to your survey, and then half of that were in favor.
exactly. That's exactly.
All right. Thank you for that information. Could you tell us what the street names are of the parameter of this? Because I could not decipher it from your diagram that was included in the packet.
Okay.
The perimeter.
The perimeter. Oh, okay. That would be the FM.
1781.
FM. Yeah. 1581 on the west side, and then on the south side is going to be. I can't remember the name of that street. I think it's
1069.
Okay, right. And then Donnie Drive is the one that goes all the way up the Colonia. And so we used the boundaries from the previous Colonia plan that was from about 10 or so years ago. And it was the Colonia Comprehensive Plan. So we used the boundaries from that plan to study for this plan. And it included Donnie Drive and all the cross streets there. And we did not include the FM or the other or the two FM roads that bordered to the west and to the south.
All right. And then one last question, and thank you. On your page where you have the proposed wastewater system inventory and analysis, and you say what the source of funds are, you give abbreviations, but I could not find a legend for that. Could you explain what those abbreviations mean?
Yeah, let me see. The CFC is Colonia Fund Construction. And TXCDBG is just basically the CDBG program, which would be regular CD funds generally. TWDB, Texas Water Development Board, most revolving loan fund and other grants that they have there. County Road and Bridge is CRB. And then Gen is just the general fund of the county. Texas Department of Agriculture is TDA, and USDA Rural Development is the last one.
Thank you.
They have.
Carla, prior to you doing this, you did a kind of a study of other colonias, and none of them qualified except for this one. Can you give us give everybody a little review on that about the other ones that we looked at prior to?
Yeah, there were a couple of other colonias that we we wanted to include in this study. And unfortunately, they didn't come in at 51%. It actually, one of them didn't come in at 51%, and then another one, there was a problem with the survey and it got kicked out. And I believe that problem was we didn't have enough non-responses in the survey. And from what I understood from the survey team is that they thought they did have enough non-responses, but they didn't fill out enough forms for non-responses. So they've gone in and corrected that survey. And it's now good it's good for to apply for another colonial area plan if you guys should want sure. And I believe there's going to be another Colonia Fund application here this year, actually. So we could definitely get in touch with the county when it comes out and to see if you might be interested. But there was one survey that didn't qualify due to problems with the survey, which have been corrected now.
And which one, do you know the name of that one? What area it was?
That was such a long time ago, 2 years ago. I'd have to go back and look. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's just not coming back. I'm really sorry.
Okay, no other questions? Thank you, Carlos.
Okay, thank you.
Under consent agenda, there's 6 items. Item 4 and 5 need to be tabled. And how do you want to handle that?
Well, let's see. I moved to approve consent items 3, 6, 7, and 8. How about that?
All right, motion made.
Second.
I second it.
Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Castelline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lawler,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye, unanimous. Do I have a motion to table 4 and 5?
I moved to table 4 and 5.
I second it.
Commissioner Russo. Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Castelline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lawler,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
All right, item number 9. There's a motion.
I'll move to approve resolution R 022021 to authorize the award of a recovery grant program management and administrative services contract for Aransas County for the Department of Commerce, Economic Development Administration, EDA Program and Workforce Development and Entrepreneurship Center. Federal Award ID number 08010547 to GrantWorks, Inc.
Actually, 8-7.
Motion, do I have a second?
I'll second, but can we get a little bit of information about what the process that was used to choose GrantWorks?
Discussion, yes.
Good morning, Kim Fouts with Long-Term Recovery. We went through our regular federal procurement process for this. We issued dozens of RFPs out to the community, included labor supply area firms as well as hubs. We received 4 responses. We had an independent committee appointed by the judge to evaluate those proposals, and GrantWorks was granted the highest score of the 4 that were presented.
What is a hub?
Historically underutilized businesses.
I have a question. Could you say who were the members of the selection committee?
On this one, it was Mr. Casterline, Mike Gear, and I'm trying to think of who the last person was. We've done this a while ago. I'm sorry, I'll have to get back with you. I can't remember the last person on it.
Any other questions? Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Castelline is aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lawler,
Aye.
and Judge Mills.
Aye. All right, item number 10, do I have a motion?
I move to approve resolution R4, let me start over again. I move to approve resolution number R-04-2021 to affirm the review of the Texas Community Development Block Grant Colonia Planning Study Contract number 7219005.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded, Mr. Castleline. Any discussion?
I just have a question. I mean, I think Carlos answered this, but I was trying to understand whether we are putting ourselves at any financial risk by moving forward now, not being sure if we can get enough people to sign up. Is this next step we're about to take doesn't expose us to any expense?
I don't think so. I don't think we're not actually applying for a grant. I'm not really in full understanding of the report that they're going to turn in, but my assumption is that if we apply for a grant, we'd have to come back and kind of update the
Okay.
stats in there.
All right. Thank you.
Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lava,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye. Unanimous. Item number 12, discuss, approve, disapprove December 2020 Treasurer's Report. I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, Mr. Castleline. Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lava,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye. Make a motion to approve January 2021 Treasury Report. Have a second.
Second.
Mr. Castleline. Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye.
Castleline, Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lava,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye. Item number 14, do I have a motion?
I move to approve the treasurer's fourth quarter investment report is given.
Second.
Commissioner Lawler. Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lava,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye. Item or 14 or 15? 15. Approve budget line item transfers. I think we know what that is. I'll make a motion.
I second it.
Roll call.
Is we say, are there just none? Is that why you say that?
Yeah.
None today? Okay.
Commissioner
Yes,
Cheney,
sir, there's none.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lava,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye. Item number 15, do I have a motion?
16.
I move to approve accounts payable and payroll liabilities.
I second it.
Commissioner Russo, all those in favor?
Are they all routine today?
Yes, ma'am, they are all routine. We furnished you a copy of it because it got done so late yesterday.
Okay.
Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lava,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye. All right, this time, there's time for department heads, elected officials to bring anything up they'd like. Well, yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to come back to Commissioner Russo's, it was John Jackson that was the third person on that committee.
John
So,
Jackson.
yes, ma'am. So
Thank you.
Commissioner Casterline, Mike Gear, and John Jackson.
All right, any others?
Judge, I'd like to just give everybody something to think about. We're really having trouble getting all of our data to us in time. I would like for us to get some consideration at some point in the future to changing our time to get routine and normal reports in to the Friday preceding, not the Friday before the Monday, but the Friday a week from the Monday. If we can do that, a lot of our stuff that we get are contracts and things that are not emergencies. And if it needs to wait a week or 2 weeks or have a special meeting, that's fine. But it's really difficult if you work 8 hours a day like I do, and then come home and have to ask somebody. It's real difficult to get to them in just a one day process, especially whenever that day is Friday. So I would like y'all to be thinking about that. We'll probably put that on the agenda at some point, but maybe the department heads would have an input into that before we do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
I'd just like to give a thumbs up to Road and Bridge. They did something that no other area would do. There was a channel marker floating back and forth in Aransas Bay. A number of people who were concerned about it to be messing up the grass and also potentially damaging piers. They called Navigation District, they called Coast Guard, they called Parks and Wildlife, and anyway, a call to Road and Bridge, along with some citizens who floated the sign up to the riprap and got it up with some chains. Road and Bridge finished the job, and it's just a great example of people actually. Maybe it wasn't their job, maybe it was, but they actually got it done. So.
thank you, Road and Bridge. Y'all are great people. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, no. Yeah, we're gonna go into closed session right now.
Oh.
Right.
For what?
We're gonna go into closed session. The last item on-
Before we do, may I add something also? Thank you. I want to commend the county attorney's office because it was able to work with TCOL and get us in the process of being licensed again. Apparently that was something that was deactivated in 2012. And although usually there's $1,000 filing fee, the county attorney's office was able to get us into the application process without having to pay that $1,000. So that's the second time in a couple of months they've really saved this county money. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we state what we're going into? At least, are we getting legal?
Which one is it?
Which last item is regarding pending litigation. with
Pending litigation, okay.
Lamar
Over the,
County. He's here just to give us some information.
okay, this is the Jacks County lawsuit at the corner of, in Lamar. Okay.
No action. So if those of you want to stick around, that's fine, but no action to be taken. It's just a discussion with lawyers. Good. I guess we can adjourn.
No,
No,
no.
you gotta wait.
We can't adjourn.
No.
All right. Those of you phone,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, we're back into open session at 9:36. We went into closed session at what time?
9:12.
9:12. All right, no action to be taken. Do I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Capuano. Aye. Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogel,
Aye.
Judge Russell.
Aye. Thank you. Have a great day.
Oh, that was good timing. I didn't realize I hadn't turned it off.
Oh.